There's a pause just before contact. A stillness rich with potential where everything might deepen or fade. In that pause, many men falter. Not because they're unkind, not because they're forceful, but because they haven't mastered the skill of welcoming, not insisting. If you've ever wondered how to approach closeness in a way that draws her closer instead of pushing her away, this video will reveal the mental truths and calm principles to make that moment sacred. Not clumsy, not controlling, but deeply bonding. Because true closeness is never merely physical. It's heartfelt consent shared in the quiet between two spirits who feel secure. And a composed man understands. You don't request with phrases, you ask with presence. In today's era of vague limits and emotional turmoil, many men are taught two opposites. Either hide your longing entirely and become passive, or pursue physical closeness with reckless haste and spoil the emotional foundation. But calm wisdom offers a distinct route, one of respectful strength. Where closeness is not something seized, it's something gained through clarity, emotional security, and steadfast self-discipline. The wise thinkers like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca weren't ascetics. They had partners, families. They knew passion, but they also recognized that desire without restraint leads to ruin. So, in this video, you'll discover how to sense the mood before you spoil the moment. Use emotional security as a charm. Invite without demanding, guide without force, and connect beyond mere physicality. This is about how to approach closeness with the mindset of a composed man, calm, centered, respectful, deliberate. Because when you master this, she doesn't just react, she surrenders. Let's start. 1. Realize that closeness begins before touch. It begins with emotional security. Before any physical bond is possible, a woman must feel emotionally secure. Not just safe from danger, but safe to be herself, open, authentic, and truly seen. Consider this. A woman's body will never rest where her soul doesn't feel valued. Emotional security isn't built through praise or flattery. It's created through reliability, through how you gaze at her when she's not dressed up, how you hear her when she speaks of something challenging, how you don't penalize her openness by trying to solve or critique it. Real-life example. A man once shared a story about the evening his partner welcomed him into her world. Not her embrace, but her struggles. She had returned from a draining day, emotionally exhausted. Instead of advancing, he simply sat beside her and said, "You don't need to be anything right now. Just exist." She broke down, she wept. That night, she initiated closeness, not because he requested, but because he made her feel supported without touching her. That's what wise thinkers teach: hold space, not expectations. Seneca wrote, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." That restraint, that patience, is captivating to a woman weary of being hurried, judged, or chased with self-interest. So, if you want to seek closeness, start by seeking her emotions. Is she secure here? Because if the answer is yes, her body will reveal everything else. 2. Gesture, don't insist. How to invite without words. Words are potent, but when it comes to closeness, energy speaks louder than anything you can utter. If your words say, "I want a bond," but your energy feels hurried, uncertain, or entitled, she'll sense it. You don't seek closeness like you seek a favor. You craft a moment where an invitation is clear, but the choice is hers. This is what composed presence is about. A calm, grounded energy that says, "I desire you, but I don't need to pursue you to feel complete." And she can feel the difference. Small actions matter. How you sit nearer, but not too near. How your gaze softens when you look at her lips. How your fingers brush her hand with purpose, but never linger without consent. The space you create says, "I respect your boundaries, but I'm here, and I want you." Real-life example. A man shared a night with a woman he'd been seeing for weeks. They'd been emotionally close, but never physical. One evening, as she stood by the window sharing about her youth, he approached, not to grasp or kiss her, but simply placed his hand on her back. Not low, not forceful, just supportive. She leaned into it, he didn't move. The silence grew warm. She turned and kissed him. Why? Because he didn't request, he gestured and waited. This is the wise man's approach. Let your presence be the invitation, let her freedom be the response. As Marcus Aurelius said, do not act as if you were going to live forever. While you live, while it is in your power, be good. To be good here is to be patient, respectful, and aligned. When she senses your energy, not as force, but as opportunity, that's when desire stirs within her. So invite without speaking, gesture calmly, and trust. True closeness never needs to be forced, it simply needs to be felt. 3. The eyes guide first. Touch her thoughts before her skin. If the body is a sanctuary, the eyes are the entrance. Before a woman allows you to touch her skin, she observes what you do with your gaze. Closeness for her begins not with hands, but with presence, with how you see her. Because here's what most men miss. A woman doesn't want to be consumed by your craving. She wants to be noticed by your awareness, and she can tell the difference instantly. Do your eyes roam, restless, scanning her form like you're browsing a catalog of what you wish to own? Or do they pause with depth, stillness, and reverence on the places where her essence lives? Her face when she's focused, her hands when she's anxious, the pause between words when she's reflecting deeply. These are the moments where true closeness is born. Not when you touch her body, but when your mind reaches out and says, I see you. Psychological insight. Mirror neurons in the brain activate when someone feels seen. When you hold soft eye contact, you engage a part of her nervous system that says, this person is emotionally attuned. And that creates arousal on a level deeper than desire, it creates connection. Real-life example. A woman once told her therapist, I knew I'd be close with him the moment I noticed he didn't look at me like a prize. He looked at her like a person. That man didn't praise her appearance. He noticed her silence, asked about the mark on her wrist, not to intrude, but to understand. In that moment, she felt secure, not because of what he said, but because of how he saw her. This is what the wise knew, to see is to love rightly. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. So when your thoughts are pure, free of manipulation or force, your eyes become an extension of that clarity. And that's where the invitation begins. When you look at a woman not as a reward to claim, but as a presence to honor, she feels it. She may not say anything, but her defenses begin to soften. This is how you invite without words. You invite through awareness. Touch her thoughts before her skin. And if she lets you in there, her body will follow. Remember, she doesn't want to be consumed. She wants to be chosen thoroughly, attentively, without haste. So let your gaze be sacred. Let your attention be your gift. Because once a woman feels emotionally held in your eyes, she begins to wonder what your touch might feel like. And if you've made her mind feel secure, her body will no longer resist closeness. It will welcome it. For express desire, not demand. Use words that welcome, not command. There's an art to voicing desire without sounding forceful, and most men never master it. They either stay silent, hoping she'll somehow sense their thoughts, or they speak with such urgency that the connection is stifled by pressure. But the composed man understands words are not tools, they're windows. Used wisely, your words can create an invitation instead of an expectation. They can open a door rather than trap someone inside. Here's the principle. When you speak about closeness, you're not assigning her a task. You're sharing a truth about what you feel, what you desire, and what you value in her. That's where so many err. They say things like, why haven't we been close yet? Or don't you want me? Those phrases are heavy with pressure, insecurity, and emotional burden. But a composed man expresses desire differently. He says things like, I feel so connected to you right now. Being near you makes me want to be closer, but only if you feel the same. Your comfort matters more to me than the moment. These aren't rehearsed lines. They're truths spoken to reveal I. This is what calm wisdom teaches, to hold desires lightly but values firmly, to speak clearly without shame or neediness. Marcus Aurelius said, speak the truth as you see it, but speak it kindly. Desire isn't wrong, but how you convey it can either elevate or erode the moment. So, speak like a man who honors her mind and body, who understands that closeness is sacred, not transactional. Don't tell her what you want her to do. Tell her what you feel and give her the freedom to meet you in that space. That's not just mental strength, it's composed leadership. And women don't just respond to it, they respect it. 5. Guide with calm. Let her move toward you. We live in a world fixated on action. Make the first move, say something, prove your desire. But what if the most powerful move was calm? Calm wisdom teaches that restraint is not weakness, it's refined strength. And in the realm of closeness, this restraint becomes your greatest asset. Because when a man can hold the moment without needing to chase it, he becomes magnetic. Calm in the presence of desire shows a woman something rare. A man who is stirred but not ruled, who burns but does not beg. Here's why it works. When you move slowly, pause, and let space breathe between your touch and her reaction, you signal confidence and emotional security. Confidence says, I don't need to force this. Security says, you're free to meet me or step back. That's the paradox of closeness. The less you need it, the more you attract it.